Communication is so important so that we can be connected to the people that are most important to us.
Persons who speak have a tendency to lower their voice at the end of a sentence.
It's not obvious to those around us that we have a hearing loss.
And I can hear everything they say until they get to the end, and then I miss the last part of it.
Individuals are often embarrassed about their hearing loss.
I had mixed feelings for the first 4 or 5 years.
People mask their hearing loss.
There have been frequencies, especially women's voices, that are hard for me to discern.
Hoosier Hear Gear is a private audiology practice and performs most of the major components of an audiology practice, including audiological evaluations on children and adults, and a hearing aid dispensing clinic. Hearing loss is often considered an invisible disability.
The Americans with Disabilities Act impacts people that are hearing impaired the same way that it impacts people with other disabilities.
10 years ago, I bought into what were very good instruments.
The purpose of the Americans with Disabilities Act was to provide equal access to facilities, both public and private.
And so I could go and listen to piccolo and violins, and so I could hear music, but I could never really understand the lyric.
Some of the most heartbreaking things that I have seen is when that older person is isolated because they can't connect.
One of our new church members spoke to our minister about the hearing loop system because they had the system at their previous church.
An induction loop system is a way to broadcast a signal through to a hearing aid or cochlear implant wirelessly by placing a copper wire around the periphery of the room.
With this loop system, the T-coil, I'm able to hear everything that they say, including those things where they drop their voice.
And it's incredible.
The signal that is broadcast then transmit that signal wirelessly to the telecoil, which is also a copper wire that's present in about 60 to 70% of all hearing aids dispensed.
The Americans with Disabilities Act applies to new construction especially, but also to any alterations or add-ons, any changes made to a current facility.
We just knew it was the right thing to do to make our church accessible to the people with hearing impairments.
So if a church or other facility is adding a new assembly area, they will need to be aware and be compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
The beauty of the system is we don't have to know whether they have hearing impairments or not.
When I'm out in the hallways or whatever, I turn the loop system off just by pushing this button.
They are there experiencing the service just as we are, and that's a blessing that we're able to provide that for them.
But then when I get in where the microphone is and the loop system, then I just quite inconspicuously push that button, and I don't have to call attention to the fact that I'm using a hearing aid.
Well, I certainly hear better. There's no question about that.
It's a way to make that broadcast signal accessible to the hearing impaired person unobtrusively without them having to draw attention to themselves or use extra equipment to access that signal.